the timer? Then let's begin. Giving a speech can be a very scary thing. For some people, it's their #1 fear. Others are afraid of spiders or enclosed spaces. But still, some people are even afraid of what most of us actually pay to do. Ride a roller coaster. So, fasten your seatbelts as we learn about roller coasters. You must be this tall to listen to this speech. As the great philosopher Anonymous once said, quote, "Life is like a roller coaster. You can either scream every time there's a bump or throw your hands up and enjoy the ride." Today's ride consists of 3 parts. The first being the history of roller coasters. Then we will move to the science of roller coasters, and we will end this ride with the fun facts. Most of the information in this speech came from 2 sources: The Incredible Scream Machine by Robert Carmel and Roller Coaster by David Bennett. Now, in order to understand how we got to the modern day roller coaster, we have to go all the way back to Russia in the 15th and 16th century, where ice slides were built as winter amusements. Since Russia is notoriously flat, they had to build their own mountains just so that they could go sledding. But these sled rides actually became very popular with Russian royalty, and the finest craftsmen were hired to make them more sophisticated and ornate. Eventually, lamps were added so that people could ride at night. However, believe it or not, even in Russia, winter does come to an end. Ice slides just don't quite work the same in the summer. So in St. Petersburg, Russia, the first wooden roller coaster was invented. It was called the Switchback Railway and used wagons placed in grooved tracks. These rides could be built as tall as 70 feet and angle as steep as 50 degrees. But despite the extremes, there were actually very few accidents. However, this isn't the case when France built their first wooden roller coaster. There were absolutely no safety regulations to keep you inside your cart. Wheels could fall off. You could go as fast as 30 miles per hour, and you didn't always stop at the bottom. But as the injuries increased, so did the popularity. So much, in fact, that France is now considered to be the birthplace of the modern-day roller coaster, even though their roller coasters were called Les Montagnes Russes, Russian mountains. Roller coasters now reach new heights in America, where a section of railway became the U.S.'s first roller coaster. The Mauch-Chunk Railway was originally invented to transport coal from the top of Mount Pisgah to the nearby Lehigh River. It took 3 hours to climb back to the top of the mountain, but the ride back down was a 30-minute continuously downhill ride. The mules that were used to carry the wagons back up to the top were even allowed to ride back down inside of them. Apparently, once they rode down once, they could never be persuaded to walk down again. But when a tunnel was built through the mountain, this made the Mauch-Chunk Railway obsolete. So the owners created the Switchback Railway. For just $1, people could take an hour and 20-minute trip. The first part offering the beautiful scenery and then ending with the thrilling ride, originally taken by the mules. I can't talk further about the history of roller coasters without mentioning the contributions of Lamarcus Thompson, considered to be the father of the modern-day roller coaster. He invented the world's first mechanical roller coaster. It could only go 6 miles per hour and only cost 5 cents to ride, but he averaged $600 per day. That's 12,000 people. People would wait in line for up to 3 hours just to go 6 miles per hour. I know what you're thinking. Ain't nobody got time for that. Lamarcus Thompson is also credited with the invention of the scenic railway, where roller coasters would take people through panoramas, biblical scenes, or wonders of the world, such as the Great Wall of China, the Sphinx, and even the Roman Colosseum. Now, when automobiles were created, roller coasters had to be able to compete. They could no longer go just 6 miles per hour. So one American, John Miller, came up with over 100 safety patents so that roller coasters could be built taller and go faster. He's also credited with the invention that keeps the cart attached to the track, something I'm sure all of us are grateful for. Now, all of these roller coasters, old and new, work on the same scientific principles, the first being potential and kinetic energy. Potential energy is defined as the energy of position. When a roller coaster sits at the top of a hill, there's very high potential energy. When it begins to speed downhill, it converts that energy into kinetic energy, the energy of motion, which is enough motion to get it to the top of another hill or loop, where it again converts between the two energies. Some energy is always lost due to friction, so you can't go quite as high as you did the first time. Understanding a little bit about physics helps us figure out why we stay in our cart when riding a roller coaster. Sir Isaac Newton's law of motion says that an object in motion tends to stay in motion. So when our bodies are going one direction on a roller coaster and suddenly we experience our turn, our bodies are still going the original direction, pushing us against the side of the cart. This is called inertia. But Sir Isaac Newton also said that for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. In this case, the opposite reaction is centripetal force, and the two balance each other out to keep you inside your cart for the remainder of the ride. Another scientific aspect is that of g-force. Right now, gravity is pulling us towards the center of the Earth at 9.8 meters per second squared. We give this the background force of 1 g. When riding roller coasters, we can feel g's of up to 5 due to acceleration. These are called positive g's, when the g is greater than 1. Now, these g's are usually caused by acceleration, and on a roller coaster you only usually experience 5, and it starts to hurt once you go higher than that. But there's also something that people like to call negative g's, when the g is less than 1. Now, it's not truly less than 0, as the name negative would imply, because if it was a negative g's, we'd all be going that way. These negative g's make us feel weightless, and are usually caused by by taking loops or going over hills. So, if you're looking to lose a few pounds, then riding a roller coaster is the leading weight loss program in the United States. There's also a biological component to riding a roller coaster. When we ride roller coasters, our brains create adrenaline and dopamine, which make us feel energetic, excited, and euphoric. Now that you've bared with me through the history and the science, don't you want to get to the fun part? You probably want to know where some of the most thrilling roller coasters are located. The award for tallest roller coaster goes to the King Car in Six Flags Adventure, New Jersey. This roller coaster is 456 feet tall. However, there's currently a roller coaster being built in Orlando called the Skyscraper. Construction will be finished in 2016, and this ride will be 570 feet tall, and will even include an elevator to a restaurant on top of the roller coaster. If you want your ride to last a while, you're going to take the longest roller coaster, which is the Steel Dragon in Nagashima Spa, Japan. This ride is 8,133 feet long. If you're a thrill seeker that likes to go fast, you're going to take the Formula Rosa in Ferrari World in the United Arab Emirates. This is the world's fastest roller coaster, reaching speeds of up to 149 miles per hour. That's a lot of G's. Now, there is the kind of person that likes to be upside down, or as I like to call them, crazy people. They're going to take the Smiler in Alton Towers in Great Britain. This has the most inversions of any roller coaster, with a total of 14 loops. If you're a little nostalgic, you probably want to take the oldest operating roller coaster, which is the Scenic Railway in Melbourne, Australia. This ride was invented by Lamarcus Thompson himself and has been operating continuously since 1912. The award for longest roller coaster ride goes to Robert Richardson, who rode a roller coaster for 412 hours. That's a 17-day trip. He ate on the roller coaster. He slept on the roller coaster. I don't think any of us want to know what he did about the bathroom on the roller coaster. Are you afraid of riding roller coasters like these people here? Here's my question for you. Have you ever used a vending machine? It may surprise you to find out that a total of 14 people die annually because they're crushed by vending machines, as opposed to only 4 who died on a roller coaster. So, if you have a fear of roller coasters, you should probably also have a fear of vending machines. In conclusion, Lamarcus Thompson himself believed that creating roller coasters was no frivolous endeavor, but would actually benefit humanity. He said, quote, "Much of the evils in this world, such as the vice and crime which we deplore, comes from the degrading nature of amusements entered into. To inveigh against them avails little, but to substitute something clean, something wholesome, and persuade men to choose it is worthy of all endeavor." End quote. Have you ever watched people exit a roller coaster? They all have smiles on their faces. Roller coasters allow us to simply forget about our worries and our cares and experience what it feels like to live. So at the end of the day, the question isn't why ride a roller coaster? The question is, why not? Thank you.